Good day. This is Skinflint of Skinflint Genealogy. I'm here. This is the inaugural podcast. I just did one for about a half hour and I ended up not recording anything. So this is take 2. So what I try to do here on Skinflint Genealogy is I'm going to show you how to use a few free genealogy resources like familysearch.org and Find a Grave, which are really very useful, and you can tie them together to really help dig in and find your family history. So let's get started. I'm going to sign in. Click on the sign in button. We're on familysearch.org. And I'm going to dig into the same gentleman that I was just looking at a few minutes ago, and I thought you were paying attention. Let me see. I have a link. Let me find my bookmarks. I'm using Chrome, and I happen to be running on Linux because that's the type of person I am. So if you can do this on Linux, you can probably do this on whatever operating system you are using. I'm going to look at... Who did I start with? I went through people, and I was looking at Ms. Wallman. So here's an entry for Lucy Paulette Wallman. You can see she was born in 1895 and died in 1979. This is the details page. This is the default front page that you have for somebody. They have other items, timeline, sources, collaborate, and memories. We'll come back to sources definitely later. You can scroll through here. If somebody adds some personal biographical information, it'll often show up in the life sketch area. Down here we have the vitals, the name, sex, birth date, death date, burial information. We get down to the other information area. You'll have some alternate names. You'll find different spellings, perhaps rarely somebody changes their name. It may help the search engine if you add a married name. There'll be very odd spellings over the years based on strange accents and choices of names for people who are immigrating and partially deaf census takers. It could be any number of reasons. So we'll have lots of entries here, like the 1900 residence entry. This is probably taken from a United States Census entry. I'll show you later how we can you can look at that information. Other information that will show up in that area, I'm just scrolling down the page with my mouse wheel, will be things like military service and other things like that. We get down to the family members. You can see that Lucy Paulette is shown married to a Henry Schattauer, and they have a child, Gilbert P. Schattauer, whom I was working on earlier, but you didn't get to see that. I'll do some more work on him. He still has some things that need done. If we scroll back up to the top, you can see here on the right hand of the page, we have a research help area. This is often where we'll see several links available that Family Search is recommending. They have found some things that they think are connections to your entry here, and they're inviting you to help out by clicking it, and that's going to be the bulk of what we do here. Search records, the one that I use most, in fact pretty much exclusively, is the Family Search search. This comes in handy. This is just the standard same old search anywhere else in the product, but I can show you how I tweak things and some of the idiosyncrasies of the search and of the Family Search database and algorithm, which I've found over the years, and I'll show you how I tweak things and try to use it to find information. You can see a list of latest changes, and then some of the other tools. Merge by ID is going to be a very popular one, and some other information which I don't really use. So I'm going to look at the tree look at the tree view of this person. And so this is the view that I prefer, the fan chart. I think the default is going to be the landscape view, which looks more like this. Let me zoom out a little by clicking on that. That's probably too small for you or myself to read, but it shows you a hierarchy like this. You could change it to a portrait view, which is a vertical view of the family tree, but I prefer the fan chart. I'll use the descendancy chart in certain situations. That will help me find information sometimes. That's very useful. But I use the fan chart the most frequently. That provides really good information. You have a little button here. Looks like some binary switches that you can click on, and this gives you a few options for this page. You can change it down to 4 generations. In this one, you can't really tell what the difference is. I usually max it out to the max number of generations that it will show, so you can see as much of the predecessors as you can. And I like to click on the research helps. So we'll click on the page here to get rid of that. And the person, you can see Lucy Paulette, you can see her parents, you can see their parents, and since these are blank, means we do not, Family Search does not have the information for those, or at least it's not linked up to, for example, Miss Katharina Strafe. We don't have any information for her yet. But we can see that they color code these. So if it's orange, it's data problems. That usually means that you haven't come up with an official date or place for some information that they have on there. Record hints is this light blue, which is what we're going to take advantage of. And research suggestions is this purple. And if we come across that, we will look into it. So you can see we have a few entries here which do have a few people who do have entries which Family Search thinks it has found some information for us. So I'm going to go to Gilbert P's entry. So I'm just going to click on that with my left click, and it gives us a little pop-up here, just giving us a little bit more information if we want to look into it. It tells you a number of sources and other memories or collaboration entries that people have entered. I can also page down here a little bit. You can click on it and get the tree view, or go directly to the person, which is the same thing as clicking on this. So I'm going to I'm going to click Control and left click to open this in a new tab. So now we are looking at Gilbert's page, and you can see the same sorts of information for this gentleman. We have some, these are probably census entries there for residences. He was living in Cape Girardeau, Missouri. I added in, unbeknownst to you, Helen Schottauer. I don't know her maiden name. I added her in by looking at the Find a Grave entry and looking at the tombstone and getting her married name and birth and death dates. We will follow up on that and see if we can discover her maiden name. And you can see over here on the right side where the latest changes, you can see where earlier I had added in this information. Okay, so let's see, what am I going to do? I will go up here to the research help, and I'm going to click on one of these entries. If you just left click on it once, it will show you a little bit more into the record hint, give you some stuff if you want to connect it up. Helen Lucille Bruhl. That's giving us her maiden name. Nice. And some more information. Gives you a little thumbnail of the document if they have it. and you have the choice of review and attach it, or if it's not a match. If it's not a match, let's say it's somebody it's not the right document for this person, you can click on that and it will ask you to enter a reason why you think it's not a match, and then it will not show this document. It will not prompt you to add this document anymore. But we are going to review and attach it, and we'll just click on that then. That opens it in a new tab. That's the default, the way they do it now. The way the software works is it's evolving over time, and they don't necessarily tell you that they're going to change something. So if you become a long-time user of this software, you will find that it evolves, sometimes in a good way, sometimes in a less than good way. But we will proceed. So here is a Missouri County marriage document. Shows Gilbert P. Schattauer and Helen Lucille Brule getting married in 1947. This looks like it's good information. I'm going to connect these, so I will attach it to Gilbert. Click on that, and now I'm going to connect Helen. I'm going to click on this to add this information. If I don't click on that, it will not push this marriage. I'll show you where they add this marriage information into Family Search entry. So I'm going to attach it. I'm not going to put a reason. I don't really feel I need a reason, but if you think it merits a reason, feel free to add anything you like in there. So I'm going to attach it. I'm going to close this and go back to Gilbert's entry. I'm going to refresh this listing. And if we go down here now, I'm going to scroll down the page and we can see I have Gilbert, and they added, since I did that, I clicked the button and I moved the marriage information over. That way it shows up here very nicely that it shows the date and the location of the marriage. I'm going to go and update change Helen's name to her maiden name, excuse me. So if I click on this, it will give me the nice little pop-up again. I'm going to open this in a new tab, so I can either do that by control left clicking on her name here, or I can just do it. Oops, let me open that back up. Or I can just left control click on her name here, and that will open up in a new tab for me, because I want to keep Gilbert's window open here just for convenience. So Helen Schattauer. First thing I do before I change her to her maiden name, generally that's what you're going to want to do, is you're going to want to have their maiden name in the as the main name for the person, and you can add the married name in below as an alternate name if you like. Often the software is pretty good at figuring that out on its own. But first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to link up Helen's Find a Grave entry here. So I want to go directly there. I'm going to control left click on this, and it will open it in a new window for me. I like to work in new tabs or windows to keep other things open. And so we have her Find a Grave entry. Gives us some good information, which we already have. But we have some new burial information. I'm going to click on that, and it slides it over, and I'm going to attach it. For Find a Grave entry, they give you the option. You can look at the record, which is a FamilySearch.org sort of digest of the information that it added in. Or in this case, with Find a Grave, they give you an image option, which you can click on and will take you to the entry in Find a Grave. So we are going to do that. I'm going to control left click and open a new window with Helen's information. Pick a link to Helen's Find a Grave entry. Often the Find a Grave stuff is great. We're going to find a lot of good information, help extend the information that's in Family Search. And if you want to open a free Find a Grave entry, you can do that and submit requests for the Find a Grave people to add information and link people together. You can also do that. So we don't have much information here on Helen's Find a Grave entry. Often we'll have things like spouse, parents, siblings, things like that. Obituaries will be linked in. All kinds of good information. We'll find some really nice stuff as we go along. This is all a real nice puzzle, and I think it's all for the good. So, just give you an idea of the way that looks. So I'm going to close that out. I'm going to close this entry that I made there. I'm going to refresh Helen. And I'm going to update her maiden name. So I'm going to click next to her name. I'm going to click Edit. And it looks like her maiden name was Brule. And you can see over here on the right-hand side we have, or at least her name before she married Mr. Schatauer was Brule. That could have been a name from a previous marriage. But we're going to go, and I'm going to assume that it's a maiden name. You can make, you could find people where you will change them around quite a bit. I'm going to change her name to Brule. And that may help us find her parents, etc., etc. Okay, I changed her name to Brule. Yep, we have no parents for her yet. But let me get one of these out of the way. Let me click another one of these just to cement this information for you. I'm going to Control left click on this entry here and we'll link this up for Helen and Gilbert. Hopefully it's Helen and Gilbert. It could be Helen and someone else. Helen Lucille Brule. Oh, I should change the L to Lucille in her name. That may help the search engine find her. She may be listed somewhere as simply Lucille Brule or Lucille Schatauer. So I'm going to attach that. I'm going to connect the information for Gilbert Paul. I can change the P to Paul for his name. We have some information there. Let me close that. I'm going to come back to Helen. What was the... let me see if it refreshed that information for me. Helen Lucille. So I'm going to change her middle... fill out that middle name. Lucille Brule. Save. And actually, let me go over to Gilbert. Scroll up, and I'm going to change his name to Paul. He may be listed somewhere as Paul, and it might be hard to find him. Okay, here we go. Helen Lucille, we have a possible duplicate. Excellent. Let me... Often what I'll do, I'm going to go and follow this duplicate link just to show you the way that works. But often, if I find a duplicate and I connect it up, let's say you'll see that I have other research help that Family Search is suggesting. Sometimes I will connect a duplicate, merge two entries together. Maybe I'll save that for another broadcast. Maybe I'll save that for the next one. That sounds like a good thing to do. What I was going to say is, if you, I will add in I will merge the duplicates, and it will, for some reason, it will sort of temporarily lose sight of these entries that it suggested before. I'm not sure why that happens, but it happens sometimes. So sometimes I try to avoid that by actually linking these up first and then doing the merge. But let's do the merge in the next podcast. Thank you all very much for watching. Click on the like button, subscribe, and I will see you next time.